He secretly became Muslim. Hollywood destroyed him until his revenge shook the world. I remember the first time I met Marcus Slate. He walked into the set like he already owned it, even though he was only booked for a 5-minute cameo. The guy had that kind of presence, like the camera didn't just love him, it needed him. His charisma was magnetic, his smile effortless, and his name already echoing in Hollywood circles before the public even knew who he was. We became close pretty fast. He wasn't like other actors. While most were either lost in their own ego or buried under a mountain of insecurity, Marcus was calm, quietly intense, like he knew something the rest of us didn't. One night after filming, we were drinking root beer on the roof of the production studio. His idea, of course. I asked him why he never went to the after-parties with the rest of the cast. He hesitated for a second, then looked me dead in the eye. I converted to Islam last year. I'm trying to keep it private. I didn't flinch, but inside I was like, whoa. Marcus Slate, the new James Dean, the Hollywood darling, secretly Muslim? You're not worried someone will find out? I asked. He gave a half smile. Of course I am. If they knew, I'd lose everything. Turns out, he wasn't exaggerating. By 2021, Marcus had starred in 3 box office smashes. He was on magazine covers, award show shortlists, even rumored to play the next superhero in a billion-dollar franchise. But fame is fragile in Hollywood, and privacy? That's a luxury no one can really afford. Not when your face is worth millions. At first, it was small stuff. Paparazzi catching him at a halal restaurant in Westwood. A blurry photo of him praying behind a trailer on set. Rumors started swirling, like vultures circling an injured deer. And then the real storm hit. His personal assistant, a guy named Jared, someone Marcus trusted for years, sold a story to a gossip site. Hollywood's golden boy is hiding a secret religion. Front page. Everywhere. Within 24 hours, Marcus Slate's faith was trending on every social platform in America. The reactions? Brutal. Some fans were supportive, but most weren't. His Instagram flooded with hate. His management dropped him. A major studio canceled his upcoming lead role, citing creative differences. One late night, host even mocked his prayer habits on national television. This ain't about freedom of religion, Marcus told me one night. It's about fear. They're scared of what I represent. He wasn't wrong. The industry that once worshipped him now treated him like a liability. And I stayed close. But even I had questions, not about his faith, but about how he'd survive this. Because Marcus had tasted the top, and now he was free-falling with no parachute. That's when he disappeared. Just like that, no posts, no public sightings, no interviews. Nothing. Hollywood assumed he broke. The tabloids called it a mental health crisis. Some said he fled the country. Others swore they saw him working at a bookstore in Cairo. All I knew was Marcus was gone. But I also knew something they didn't. Marcus wasn't the type to run away. He was the type to wait. And that silence? That was him sharpening his blade. I thought his story ended with scandal and shame. But what I didn't know was Marcus Slate was planning something. Something that would shake Hollywood to its core. I thought the leak about Marcus's religion was the worst thing that could have happened. I was wrong. What followed wasn't just media backlash. It was a carefully orchestrated takedown. Someone didn't just want Marcus canceled. They wanted him erased. See, here's the part no one talks about. That story Jared sold to the tabloids? He didn't write alone. It had help. Help from people Marcus loved. People he trusted more than anyone. Let me tell you about Lisa Maddox. Lisa had been Marcus's agent since day one. She discovered him when he was still doing street theater in Austin. She used to call him her golden ticket, and he treated her like family. She was at every birthday, every red carpet, every hospital visit when his mom got sick. So when Marcus's career started to wobble after the scandal, he turned to Lisa for help. He wanted her to find a project, any project, that could shift the public conversation. A redemption arc, something. She said, "Let me handle it. I got your back." 3 days later, Variety published an exclusive. Exclusive. Sources say Marcus Slate's agent tried to hide his religious conversion from studio heads. Guess who the sources were? Lisa. She flipped. Sold him out. Leaked emails. Internal memos. even private text messages. All to save her own ass and land a contract with a new up-and-coming actor, one more market-friendly, as she later put it in an email I wasn't supposed to see. I confronted her once. Why? I asked. You were his family. She didn't blink. Hollywood doesn't care about loyalty. It residential about optics. Marcus became complicated. That word stuck with me. Complicated. That's how they saw him now. Not talented. Not principled. Just inconvenient. But the worst part? Marcus still hadn't said a word. No interviews. No rebuttals. No public statements. He was radio silent while the world turned his name into a punchline. That's when I started hearing rumors, real dark ones, that he was broke, that he tried to check himself into a clinic in Istanbul, that he had a breakdown and started preaching in subway stations in Paris. None of it made sense. Marcus was too smart, too strategic, too quiet. And then, just when things seemed like they couldn't get worse, his father passed away. Now, Marcus and his dad weren't particularly close, but it still broke something in him. He didn't even come back for the funeral. He sent me a voice note instead. I can't bury him while they're still burying me. I didn't know what to say. For the first time, I started to wonder if maybe the Marcus I knew, the fearless, focused, fire in his eyes Marcus, was really gone. Just burnt out. But then something weird happened. 3 months after that message, a video surfaced on a small YouTube channel. Not even 100 views. The title? Friday Prayer in a Remote Afghan Village. Former celebrities spotted. It was shaky, low-res, filmed on a phone. But there, in the background, standing silently in the second row, hands folded in front of him, head down, was Marcus Slate. No beard, no entourage, no designer clothes. Just peace. The comments section exploded. Some thought it was AI generated. Others said it was a look-alike. A few said it was old footage from a movie. But I knew that posture, that stillness. That was him. And suddenly it clicked. He wasn't hiding. He was rebuilding. That's when I knew something else too. Marcus wasn't just done with Hollywood. He was waiting to destroy it. The agent, the assistant, the studios, they thought they ended him. But what they didn't realize, Marcus wasn't planning a comeback. He was preparing a reckoning. I flew to Turkey on a whim. Don't ask me why. Maybe I just needed to see something with more soul than my studio apartment and the LA skyline. Maybe I was running away from my own burnout. Or maybe I hoped I'd run into him. And weirdly, I kind of did. Not in Istanbul. Not even in a big city. It happened in this dusty, quiet town near the Afghan border, where I stopped to visit a small masjid after hearing a local say, "A famous American prays here sometimes." I laughed. What? Like Tom Hanks? He shook his head. No, the one from the movies with the motorcycles and the explosions. Slate. My heart dropped. It couldn't be. Could it? So I stayed. Waited. And on the third Friday, just after the call to prayer ended, he walked in. Marcus Slate. Hair longer. Beard rough. Skin suntanned and real. No designer watch. No sunglasses. Just a man who looked like he'd been emptied out and filled back up with something steady. After the prayer, I approached him. He didn't seem surprised to see me. We walked to a tea stall near the gravel road. No cameras. No phones. Just the clink of 2 chipped glasses and a silence that stretched for minutes. Finally, he said, "Do you remember what I told you on the roof? That if anyone found out, I'd lose everything." I nodded. "Well, I was wrong," he continued. "I didn't lose everything. I lost them. The contracts, the noise, the masks. I still have me. For the first time, I didn't know what to say. He seemed light, like the weight he used to carry was gone. But then he leaned in, and something darker flickered in his eyes. "I've forgiven a lot," he said, "but I haven't forgotten, especially not the ones who twisted the knife." That's when I knew he wasn't just healing. He was calculating. Marcus had spent nearly 2 years in silence, studying, teaching English, learning Arabic, even working with orphan relief in mountain villages. He prayed 5 times a day, fasted in Ramadan, and found comfort in things he used to mock back in the trailers on movie sets. But underneath that peaceful surface, fire, controlled, focused, relentless. He told me about a plan. Nothing flashy, no exposés, no press tours. He was going to build something, not just a comeback, a platform, I'm not here to get revenge by screaming louder, he said. I'll do it by making them irrelevant. A film company. Independent. International. Faith-centered stories told with the highest cinematic quality. He already had backers from Dubai and Malaysia, writers from Nigeria and Turkey, directors from Indonesia. He was uniting the Muslim creative world, and Hollywood didn't even see it coming. They canceled me to protect their narratives, he said. So now, I'm creating new ones. Better ones. He didn't raise his voice once during this conversation. He didn't need to. This was a man who had gone from being a symbol to becoming a movement. And as we stood outside that little tea shack, watching the call to Maghrib prayer echo across the hills, I realized something. Hollywood thought they buried Marcus Slate, but really they planted him. And now, he was rising. I thought his story was about survival. But this wasn't survival. This was strategy. And what came next would silence everyone who ever doubted him. 3 years. That's how long Marcus stayed off the grid. No premieres. No interviews. No late-night TV cameos. Just whispers. Whispers that turned into murmurs. Murmurs that turned into buzz. And then, one morning, Hollywood woke up to a headline that no one saw coming. Slate Studios releases first trailer, and it's already breaking records overseas. At first, people thought it was fake. A deep fake, maybe. But it wasn't. It was real. Marcus Slate. The Marcus Slate was back. Except he didn't come back to Hollywood. He built his own. The movie was called The Last Wall, a war drama based on a real story from a Muslim soldier who saved a Christian village during a brutal siege in Bosnia. Shot entirely in Morocco. Directed by a Turkish filmmaker. Cast from 5 countries. Subtitled in 18 languages. It premiered not in Cannes or Sundance, but at a film festival in Doha. Critics were stunned. The production value? World-class. The script? Heart-wrenching. The lead actor? Some no-name Syrian refugee with no formal training, but eyes that could break you. The press begged for an interview with Marcus. He gave them none. Instead, he issued a single press release. This isn't a comeback. This is a correction. Behind the scenes, though, he was surgical. One by one, he bought out minor shares in production companies owned by the same executives who once called him a PR nightmare. He didn't sue Lisa, his ex-agent. He let her hang herself. After The Last Wall won Best Foreign Film at multiple festivals, documents leaked showing Lisa tried to sell Marcus's film rights without his consent, right before her own agency dropped her for ethical concerns. Jared, the assistant who sold him out, he ended up applying for a job at a London distribution firm. Marcus owned 40% of it. He didn't reject the application. He simply never responded. That silence? Colder than revenge. Meanwhile, Slate Studios grew like wildfire. A second film followed, then a series, then a streaming deal across the Gulf. Suddenly, Muslim-majority nations had their own cinematic voice, and Marcus was the one giving it to them. But here's what really broke the internet. Marcus Slate declined a $50 million offer from Netflix. He didn't tweet about it, didn't post a screenshot, just quietly said no. When asked why by a journalist in an off-record Q&A, he replied, "I don't take money from people who once mocked my faith." Mic drop. Now, you might be wondering, did he ever return to America? Yes, but not for Hollywood. He came back to fund a scholarship at his old high school and to visit his mother's grave. No flash, no cameras, no entourage, just a hoodie, a janazah prayer, and a man who had already made peace with the past. I asked him once, after everything, if he forgave the people who turned on him. He looked at me and smiled. "I don't need to forgive them," he said. "I outgrew them." It tried to erase his name. Instead, he carved it into a whole new world. Marcus Slate didn't just get revenge. He rewrote the rules. Quietly. Faithfully. Permanently.